Friends, good morning. Father Frank Pavone here, National Director of Priests for Life. I am in the city of Chicago, Illinois. I'm speaking to you now from a car in Chicago, and I just landed at O'Hare Airport and was picked up by Sean Sullivan, who's driving here. You know, you see him here. He's not going to look directly at you because he's looking at the road.
No, I'm a professional driver.
Sean is a professional driver. Sean is an attorney. Sean, tell us a little bit about yourself. You head up the Life Center, and what's very significant about this, friends, in South Bend, Indiana, which is where we are headed now, is that this Life Center is right by the abortion facility that this deceased abortionist, Ulrich, how do you say his name? Klopher, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Klopher.
And he went by George. I mean, George.
He went by George.
Yeah.
And this is the abortionist who recently died. And about a week or a little bit over a week after he died, in his residence were discovered the remains of 2,246 aborted babies. And if you follow the pro-life news, you've been seeing this story all over the place. And that's why I'm here today with Sean, because we're updating each other about this situation. And Sean, tell us a little bit about you, your work, and what we're about to undertake today.
Okay, Father. Well, the Life Center where we're headed now was, as you said, set up right next door to the abortionist active abortion. Okay, Father. At that time called the Women's Pavilion. The bishop at that time in 2012 was Bishop Rhodes, and he approved our plan to put an adoration chapel.
Beautiful.
Yes, very beautiful. And the chapel really, literally is very beautiful, not just in theory, not just the idea of an adoration chapel next to the abortuary, but we get a lot of positive comments about the beauty of it. And we set up shop in 2012. It took till October of 2013 for us to get the altar consecrated with a relic from St. George. Just appeared on our doorstep. How about that? I had to send it to the Vatican. I did not know it was going to be authentic, because I didn't think actually it was authentic. I thought somebody was pulling our leg. Sure enough, it's authentic. So the altar that's in the chapel was consecrated. The altar has a relic in it. Bishop Rhodes consecrated it, and the relic is from St. George to combat George Klopfer. And so we did go to battle with him. The chapel has a window that overlooks where the abortion clinic was, really only 10 feet away. I mean, it's not very far.
10 feet away from this guy's killing center. Yeah.
Yes, it was ironic in some ways, but you know, God was going to prevail under these circumstances where we had a consecrated altar. 10 feet away was Satan's altar.
Yeah,
literally.
Exactly.
The operating table, the surgical table was literally not far at all, 15 feet maybe away from where our altar was. But we'd be out there with the TLC advocates, two who are talking today at the press conference, and they'd be reaching out to mothers. We'd have our prayer warriors out there, and we took him from his highest year ever, where abortion clinics were closing everywhere, and everybody was coming to South Bend. And two of those abortion clinics were his, one in Fort Wayne and one in Gary. And he went from his highest numbers ever, and then to zero when we got the evidence to close them down and put enough pressure on the state to close them down.
And that's when Mike Pence was governor, right?
And that's when Mike Pence was governor.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this guy got his license taken away, and nobody knew he had these aborted babies in his house, right? And his house is over state lines over there in Illinois. But this sad discovery was made.
Yeah, it took his death and somebody to stumble over these aborted babies in his house. But here's what we did know, and this would obviously be part of the press conference, that he was not using any vendor for biomedical waste. He never had the aborted babies removed from his clinic. But what we did see, because we monitored him 24 hours a day, not only did we hold vigil, but we had a camera, and it was a motion detector camera. So we would go back and look at any time somebody was going in and out, because this was one of our complaints was, what's happening here, people? What's he doing with it? Is he putting it in the sewer? Seems like that'd be a problem sooner or later. We had people dumpster diving, so we knew it wasn't the dumpster. So we knew at that time bodies were going somewhere.
Yeah.
And he would fill up his trunk every night with boxes that had bags in them.
So there could be theoretically more discoveries yet to be made.
Yes.
Yeah,
I have no idea where to look.
Right.
But yes, there could be more discoveries made. It's not that surprising. They just did a raid on his clinic yesterday. Lots happened very fast. And yesterday they were there all day. The prosecutor, it's St. Joe County, so the prosecutor led that raid. But it did include the Attorney General's office, homicide units, South Bend Police. So it included a lot of different bodies there. There were probably about 10 cars there, and then they left with a U-Haul truck. I mean, probably a 24-foot truck, basically emptied out Klopfer's building. But it's not that surprising if they don't find, and I don't think they're going to find, fetal remains actually inside. They might find evidence of something.
Yeah.
But inside the clinic, because while he was in operation, he had to be ready at any time, especially towards the end there, for inspectors to come in. That would have been a bad thing to have on hand there. And he, it just would have got, it would have got too voluminous and messy. And now he's had all this time anyways. If they were there, he's had a lot of time to get him out of there.
Well, and Indiana passed that law, right?
Yes.
Governor Penn signed that law about the disposal of fetal remains.
Right.
And tell our people what that law required.
Well, now
does require.
Yeah. Well, now if the mother requires it, it requires burial or cremation. There's always been laws on the books for the disposal of biomedical waste, which they would consider a human body.
Yes.
There's all kinds of ironies going on here.
Yes.
The way we look at it. How we're looking at it now. But there's always been those kind of requirements, which obviously he did not adhere to, and might have been a cost-saving measure. We've been asked to speculate on that a number of times. I really don't know.
Who knows? Yeah. Well, I really appreciate everything that you've been doing. We're going to be together today. We're going to have this press conference as soon as we get there. Hopefully, it'll be 11 a.m. Eastern time. We'll broadcast it, and we'll get more and more awareness out there, brothers and sisters. This is all about awareness, what abortion is, what these abortionists do, how dark and how dirty the abortion industry is. We saw it with Kermit Gosnell. We see it again with this abortionist, and we're going to see it more in the future, unfortunately. But the good news is the more this is exposed, the more the American people will be ready to reject abortion and shut this industry down. So stay with us during the course of the day. And again, Sean, thank you for, you run the Life Center. We're going to talk about more of this later. And this abortionist actually was coming over talking to you guys, right?
At the end there, the last 3 years after he got shut down, he realized with the Biden protest, because we were about the only people in northern Indiana that protested Notre Dame giving Biden the Lataria Award. And when that happened, he realized it wasn't about him and it wasn't personal anymore.
Interesting.
Yes, and he started warming up to us, if you can believe that. So gave us a chance to evangelize.
Wow.
And he transformed greatly, and that's all I can really say about it. I don't know where he was.
Yeah, who knows?
He went into the chapel a couple times, though. Hopefully there was a change of heart, but there's no way of knowing. And he was still pretty vibrant when we saw him a few days before his passing. So I'm sure it all caught him by surprise. We were kind of surprised to learn because he just always appeared. I mean, he acted like a 50-year-old.
Wow. And we'll see that chapel later on today.
We're going to do the press conference right in front of it.
Beautiful. So, friends, stay with us. Father Frank Pavone here, coming to you from Chicago, and in a little while from South Bend, Indiana, following this story of the abortionist Klopher and these 2,246 aborted babies who have been retrieved from his home. And we'll talk more about that as the day goes on. God bless you all.
God bless.